Hey guys, and welcome to another video on this channel. Today we are not going to talk about facts or we are presenting you some drivers or something on F1 2020, but we are talking about something what happened today and try to go more into detail. Sadly, Pekos isn't here because he has a place where he's working now every day, and it is something which has to do with summers, so he isn't that available as I am, although also my school has started. Yes, I know it is very sad, but I'm in the last year of school and hopefully I'm going to finish it kind of okay, and then I can move on and do the things I want to do, and maybe it works out, maybe not, let's see. And by the way, if you're thinking like, oh, it has been a long time since I've listened to that voice, yeah, long time, no see. But what are we going to do today? Lewis Hamilton is on pole for the 2020 Spanish Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel didn't make it into Q3 by 2 thousandths of a second. Kimi Raikkonen made it out of Q1, George Russell didn't, and what we are going to talk about happened in the third free practice session. Maybe you see it in the title. Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen had a very bizarre incident at turn 3, and Ocon crashed because Magnussen got in his way. But did Magnussen got in Ocon's way? Was he on fault for the accident, and was it right from the stewards to say no penalty at all in this incident? That is the question for today. The question is clear. Let's answer it. The third free practice session wasn't a busy session. There were some long runs, there were some short runs, there were not many surprises, the horses were slower than expected, and also Kevin Magnussen wasn't the fastest one. But it were the last seconds of the session where something bizarre happened. Esteban Ocon let Kevin Magnussen overtake him in turn 3, and shortly afterwards you have just seen Esteban Ocon crashing into the wall on the right, and the practice was not only over because of time, but over because of a red flag. But what actually happened, and was Kevin Magnussen really impeding Ocon? Let's have a look. But before talking about who was on fault, who did that, who did this, what actually happened? So of course the stewards analyzed the crash in detail in their investigation and came to the end that accordingly both Ocon and Magnussen had their part in the incident. The FIA stewards said that there is no necessary reason to penalize one of them. In words they said, the drivers involved, which were Ocon and Magnussen, and the stewards agreed that it was an unfortunate incident and that no driver is to be blamed for it. That was the overall summary from that. What happened? Yeah, it was very unfortunate and not really paid attention by both of them. First, it seemed like Magnussen was hitting the brakes and not really avoiding Ocon, but more moving into his direction, which forced Ocon to move out because he can't crash into the back of Magnussen. That would have been much worse. So he tried to avoid something worse. Magnussen tried to avoid a crash, but in the end it happened that Ocon crashed so. Magnussen had just completed the time lap. There was like no real need for Ocon to let him pass, but Ocon thought that Magnussen was on the fast lap. That was the first misunderstanding between the both. Ocon in his position had just come out of the pit lane, and as the incident happened in turn 2 and 3 and it were the last seconds of the session, he was also not planning to do a fast lap, but Magnussen could have done so. That was the second misunderstanding. As I said, the whole incident happened in turn 2 and turn 3. Magnussen slowed down, that is a fact. But it wasn't because of braking, it was because of Magnussen just switching his engine modes and trying to save some ERS, trying to save like basically everything. And of course you are slower then because you are in your in-lap, you know that you've done your timed lap, and you know that the lap you've done so far is totally not going quicker. So you just try to bring the car home, which he did, but sadly Ocon couldn't. What Ocon did was to pull to the right to avoid slowing Magnussen. Of course, if you think as a driver that the other one is on a fast lap, but he isn't, you think that he's like just far away, and then you concentrate on who's behind me, who can I let pass next. That was exactly the thing that Ocon do. It was the right thought from Ocon, but he thought that Magnussen was faster than he actually was. A big misunderstanding. It was like not Magnussen trying to move into the side of Ocon. I mean, it wouldn't have made any sense if Magnussen was just thinking, oh yeah, there's a Renault, let's just slam it to his way. I mean, he did that on Nico Hülkenberg, and then Magnussen wanted Hülkenberg to suck his balls, but it wasn't like that. As I said, Ocon was also coming home, or he wanted to, and was probably busy with the buttons on his steering wheel, or just looking into the rear mirror. That was what his team principal Sir Bull said. What we saw in total was that Ocon was very surprised that Kevin Magnussen was directly in front of him. Also, according to the stewards, as I said before, Ocon wanted to let the following vehicles pass, and in fact looked in the rear view mirror without paying any attention to Magnussen driving in front of him. Magnussen also didn't pay any attention on Ocon driving behind him, because both maybe thought that they want to get out of the way of the cars behind. It was like just a chain reaction, with both drivers, Ocon and Magnussen, not trying to do something stupid and cause a crash, but to avoid it. But sometimes it is so in life that when two people avoid one and the same thing, that one and the same thing happens. Also, the idea of many F1 fans that Magnussen braked on purpose was quickly said that it wasn't the case. The telemetry of the horse showed that he simply just took off the gas, and the lane change of direction was initiated by Magnussen because he had been informed by radio about cars behind. So it wasn't even just a misunderstanding between the drivers, but between the teams too. It was a very, very bizarre and scary accident, and in the end, both Ocon and Magnussen can be happy that they are alright. Nothing huge happened except for Ocon crashing into the wall, but the tyres stayed as they were, only the front wing suffered a bit of damage. So in the end, everything went well. Nobody has done something stupid in the end to cause the accident. Of course, both weren't paying attention that much, which isn't always that good while traveling in that cars at that speed. But in the end, both were like doing their thing, and something unfortunate happened. So in my opinion, it is the correct decision that no one has got a penalty. A bad situation, but it turned good again, and nobody was impeded from the cars behind, which was the more important thing. Imagine Ocon and Magnussen crashing into each other and then somebody coming from the back. That would have been scary. But yeah, in general, that was my opinion on if the penalty was correct or not, on what happened today in the third free practice. Leave your opinion in the comments down below. What you think about the incident. Was it the right decision from the stewards to not penalise Magnussen or Ocon? Was Ocon at fault? Was Magnussen at fault? Or was it, like in my opinion, just a misunderstanding, a massive one, to be honest? Yeah, in the end, we can just say it was a bizarre crash. Nobody could do something for it, but that happens in Formula 1. There are always these racing incidents, and of course you cannot communicate with the other drivers, but that would be pretty cool. Imagine Lando and Max just shouting like random things. That would be pretty amazing. But that's another topic. Maybe you've also liked that kind of weird real talk from me. But yeah, maybe you've liked it. Leave a thumbs up if you want to subscribe to this channel. Stay safe, enjoy the race tomorrow, and for me it is goodbye.